Hey guys, what's up? It's Josh. We're back with episode 4 of Pickpocket Bets. Kind of fell off for a little bit. I went to Vegas, like I mentioned, for Wild Card Weekend, and I've been a little bit busy recently, but I just wanted to get back into the swing of things. We got a full slate of NHL games today and a good slate of NBA games today, so a lot to talk about. I'm not going to talk about the NFC or AFC championship yet. I'm gonna leave that for later in the week, but I was last episode was before Wild Card Weekend. I was wrong about the Seahawks spread and the under. The Niners pulled away, which kind of, I guess, not that I expected it, but as a Seahawks fan, it wasn't super surprising. The Bengals beat the Bills, which I was not surprised about whatsoever. I have the Bengals as my Super Bowl future winner. I don't know if I said that earlier, but I got them at plus 750, and now it's to plus 250. So I'm glad I got that Super Bowl future in. And then the Giants upset the Vikings. Really did not see that coming. The Vikings did everything they could have done to lose that game. Their defense played horrible, and they had probably the worst fourth down play I've seen in a while with their season on the line. But you know what? That's okay. We move on. And then I wasn't surprised to see the Eagles easily handle the Giants the next week. That Chargers Jaguars game, I mean, I don't know what else you can really say other than when a team's up 27-0 at halftime, you'd expect them to win. Clearly, that wasn't the case, and that's why they played the game. And I also thought the Jags Chiefs game was really, really good. I wasn't able to watch those games that day, which sucked. I missed the Saturday divisional round games, but wasn't surprised to see the Chiefs move on there. And then I'm trying to think what was the other match up. Let me look at my phone. Um, and then you obviously had the Cowboys and the Niners. I can't forget about that one. I really wanted the Niners to lose, but I think the Niners are the best team in the NFC. I think the Eagles. I'm not going to talk about. I won't get into it today. But yeah. So Dak Prescott played so bad that game. It wasn't even funny. So yeah, the Niners were able to move on. But I guess let's move into today. Let's get to the present. So in the NBA today, the first game of the day, it's the Bulls at the Pacers. Um, Tyrese Halliburton has been out for a while. He's still going to be out for this game. Just looking at the lineups, I'm taking the Bulls money line in this game. I think they are the better team, and I like the over of 234.5, just because just the way that the Bulls play offense and the way that the Pacers play offense, they both have shooting big men who like to pick and pop. And for that reason, I feel like, they tend to score a lot more. They don't really, doesn't seem like Vucevic works it inside too much. Miles Turner also, they both like to shoot threes. They both like to shoot. They're shooting centers. So I do like the scoring in this game, and I think that the over is going to hit. So I would say Bulls money line and over 234.5. And then after that, the next game up today is going to be Celtics at Heat. I don't know why, but I don't really like the way the Heat have been playing this year. Obviously, they've been extremely injured. Somehow they're still 26 and 22. Uh, so props to Eric Spoelstra, excuse me, for kind of keeping the season afloat, just based off what he's been dealing with the injury section. But I like the Celtics money line in this game. It was funny actually. I mean, I didn't make a podcast, but I I called yesterday the Magic beating Celtics. I don't know what it is about the Magic and the Celtics this year, but the Magic just have had their number all year. But I think the Celtics are going to have a bounce back game today, and I'm confident that the Celtics will come out on top. And 217.5 to me is way too low of a number. Um, I mean, it's not way too low, but I think over 217.5 is a smarter play. So I would say Celtics money line and over 217.5. Um, and I mean, I guess also just to throw on there in terms of injuries, uh, everyone for the Heat is back except for Duncan Robinson now. So maybe the Heat will come out firing today. I'm gonna stick with the Celtics. I think they're more consistent. So for that reasoning, Celtics money line. And then we got Cleveland and New York. The season series right now is split between the two. So it is kind of a toss-up game for me. I think both these teams are really evenly matched. Donovan Mitchell is right now he's listed as likely to play. So it's it's more than likely that you'll see him in the lineup today. Mitchell Robinson's out for the Knicks, and Isaiah Quickly is going to be a game time decision. And based off RotoWire, ROTO Wire. This is like that's the app I use. I mentioned it in an earlier episode. It's great because for all the NBA games, it gives you the starting lineups, shows you the lineups, and it tells you, who may not play, who is going to play. And if you click on their name, it'll give you, instead of going to Twitter and trying to figure it out over Twitter, it basically gives you that information at hand. And if it has and you can refresh the page actually, so like if it's been 3 hours you can hit refresh and then the player will update from game time decision to in or out. So it's really helpful just to keep yourself honest with lineups and everything, which I think is really important in basketball. But so as of right now, Emmanuel quickly is questionable. But I do like the Knicks at home in this game. The first, like I said, the season series is split, but I'm gonna stick with the Knicks in this game, and I do like the over 220 and a half. Although actually, the over under in this game is really hard. I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna stick with under 220 and a half. I think that's a smarter play. So excuse me, but yeah, under 220 and a half is what I'm going to stick with. And then we got Pelicans and Denver. This game is tricky because right now Michael Porter Jr. and Jokic are both considered questionable. Those are two big pieces, in my opinion, as to the two big pieces to the puzzle for the Nuggets. Um, so I'm going to stick with Pelicans money line for right now. But if Jokic and I mean, I'm making this video before I know whether they're playing or not. So what I'm saying is if Jokic and Michael, I would wait to bet on this game until you know if they're in or out, because if they're both playing, then the Nuggets are going to win the game. If Jokic is in and Porter's out, I would still take the Nuggets. But if Jokic is out, I would stick with the Pelicans. Jonas Valanciunas is a good enough big man to where if Jokic isn't playing, he's going to have a big game. The Pelicans are good at home. I would stick with Pelicans money line unless Jokic plays. And in terms of the over under on that game, right now it's going to be set at 230 and a half. Personally, I like the under. And keep in mind if Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. are not playing, I think the under is a hammer. Um, but if they're both playing, it could get tricky. But I would say under 230 and a half would be a smarter play. And then for the next game, we got Charlotte and we got the Suns. The Suns have been playing really good recently, even though Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton have both been out for a while. It seems like they're kind of getting their stride as a team. Monty Williams is a good coach. They have good chemistry and they play well at home. Even though they have injuries, the Hornets are terrible this year. So I'm going to give the edge to the Suns at home. Phoenix money line. And in terms of the over under, it's at 227. Yeah, 227. I'm going to stick with the under on that just because I'm more confident in a lower scoring game, based on the fact that Aiton's out, Booker's out, Crowder's out. Crowder's always been out, but Booker and Ayton are both out. LaMelo Ball is, let me check. It says game time decision, and I believe it said he's been ruled out. Yeah, so LaMelo he was ruled out yesterday. My guess is he probably won't play today, but who knows? I think even if LaMelo does play, the Suns will still win. If I'm not super sure, the over under is really tough in this game because like the Suns like went off. So like for instance, the last time the Suns played was against the Grizzlies, and they were winning by 27 points in the second quarter. But I think the total score of the game was like 220 combined with both teams, and so like I kind of, for that point, makes me lean towards the under because I don't think that they're going to be able to score enough to cover those points. So yeah, and then so we have next game up is going to be the the Mavs and the Wizards. I I like I like Mavs money line at home. I think the Mavs are the safe bet here. Mavs money line taking the home court. I do like over 225 and a half. The Wizards are a very good scoring team, not so good on defense, but offensive wise, they're a good team. And Dallas is kind of the same way. They're very much like Luca ISOs. Luca scores 30 and he kicks out to open shooters. So I expect the over in this game to hit 225 over 225 and a half. And then last but not least, we have the Battle of LA tonight. Um, I am a Lakers fan. I'm a LeBron fan, so I guess inadvertently I root for the Lakers. But if I'm being realistic, this is the Clippers NBA Finals. I mean, the Clippers care so much about winning this matchup. They consistently beat the Lakers. Um, I don't really necessarily think the Clippers are a better team. Their record is. I think if you had a healthy Anthony Davis, it might be a different story. Also, Rui Hachimura, who they just acquired over trade, is not going to be playing today. So all those factors combined, and I would stick with Clippers money line. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are both playing, of course. Of course, they're going to play against the Lakers because that's what they care about. So I think for that reason, like Clippers money line is like an absolute hammer. I hate to say it, but just trying to be realistic here. And then in terms of the over under, it's set at 230. I do like over 230. I think even if the Clippers start, like we saw the Lakers go down 71 to 46 to the Blazers at half and win the game. And I think that's a perfect example of like there's not like the defense is not a priority for them. So 100% sticking with the Clippers money line and the over. I think that's a really safe bet. And we got a full slate of hockey. I'm just gonna hop right into it. I don't have any player props today, so I'm just keeping it simple with money lines and over unders. And I think the smart thing would be for you guys who are listening in on this would be to probably take, take like at the end I'll kind of go through and say what I think is really smart and what's not in terms of straight bets, but I don't necessarily think it's smart to take all these picks and just throw it into one parlay. I'm not saying I don't do that on my own and maybe throw a dollar on it because the payouts are so big. On FanDuel, it's really nice because you can build really big same game parlays. You can do huge parlays. There's no restrictions on your parlays. Whereas like, many offshore books or even like when I was at Caesars in Vegas, like at Caesars Palace, you can't parlay player props together. You can do that on FanDuel, but you can't do it at the book. So I get that every single person's kind of dealing with different rules and restrictions. So for that reason, definitely smarter to do straight bets or smaller parlays. Unlike me, I like to do one like super big one, just throw everything in there, just throw a dollar on it. But being smart, I wouldn't recommend that for you guys. So I'll just get right into the hockey slate. So the first game, sorry, I got a lot of tabs open. First game, we're gonna start off with the Kings and the Flyers. I like Kings money line. The Flyers have been kind of fraudulent in my opinion recently. In their last few games, they lost to like they beat Anaheim and they beat Detroit, who are like whatever, but they lost to Winnipeg, they lost to the Blackhawks, and they lost to the Bruins. The Bruins are the best team in hockey, but the Blackhawks are so bad this year, and Winnipeg is below their level. I think they were at home when they lost two, so I'm going to stick with the Kings. The Flyers won the first game 4-2, and that's why I like the Kings to bounce back in this matchup. And I also like the over of 6 goals. Both of these teams are pretty offensive oriented, although uh, I I don't want to. I guess I could be wrong, but I thought for sure. I thought that Marc Andre Fleury was the goalie for the Kings, and he's really good. But that being said, I still like the over in this game. And then next up we got Panthers at Penguins. I'm gonna take Panther. Excuse me. They're both P teams. I'm gonna take the Penguins money line at home. I'm gonna give them home ice advantage. I like even though they lost the first game 6-2. I believe it was 6-2, 4-2. Oh, they won. Yeah, they won the first game 4-2. My bad. So I'm going to stick with them. I think that on home ice, they're going to take care of business. They've been playing well recently. I give them the edge in this matchup. I like the under 6.5 goals. Also too, I think that it's going to be like 3-1, 3-2, 4-1. So I would stick with Penguins money line and under 6.5 goals. And then we have Lightning and Wild. This game is a little odd just because I think the Lightning are better. I mean, obviously, record wise, that they're 29 wins compared to the Lightning's, excuse me, compared to the Wild's 25. But I think the Lightning are the better team. They lost the first game 5-1, which is obviously not ideal, but I think they're going to bounce back in this next matchup. They got home ice. And that game was, I mean, it was the very beginning of the month, so things change. Uh, Tampa Bay has been playing well. They did lose their last two games, and so did Minnesota. So they're both on 2 game losing streaks. I'm going to take home ice Lightning on this, and like I said earlier, over 6 goals. And then next up, we're going to have Knights and Devils. This is a great hockey game. It's the ESPN hockey game of the day. Yeah, ESPN plus Hockey Night. I'm going to take Devils home ice. I think this is a really evenly matched game. I think you could probably go either way. I don't really think that minus 178 is a, it's kind of a high. I would assume it'd be like minus 120 or like minus 125, more or less. But I would take the Devils home ice, and I like the over 6.5 in this game. Just kind of looking at their recent games, uh, I like the over. Just based on goals scored by both teams in the last 5 games. And then we got next up, we're gonna have the Sharks and the Red Wings. So for this game, I'm gonna give the Red Wings the home ice advantage. I just the Sharks are not very good, and the Red Wings aren't amazing either. But I'll take home ice for the Red Wings in this, and I like the over 6.5 goals. I think it's going to be high scoring. The first matchup, I believe, is 7-4. So I think that there's going to be a lot of goals scored. And then we got Bruins and Canadians. The Bruins are the best team in hockey, kind of like I said earlier. I'm going to stick with Bruins. Bruins money line is minus 420. So I mean, realistically, that's got to be put in a parlay if you really want to take it. I'm not a huge fan of the reverse risk in betting. I don't really like taking huge favorites. I just think that's like it's pointless. Like I just would rather not bet on it, you know? So if you're gonna take Bruins money line, just probably throw it in a parlay. But I think the under 6 is a smarter play because it's gonna be minus 110. I think under 6 is a good play in this game. I think it's gonna be like 4-1, 3-1, or something like that. And then next up, we're gonna have Jets at Predators. I'm gonna stick with the Predators money line. The first game was close; it was 2-1. The Jets pulled it out, but I'm gonna give the Predators I'm gonna give them the edge in the second matchup, and I like over 5.5 goals. I think the first game was so low scoring, but both these teams do score a good amount. I think that over 5.5 is I think that's a good bet. And then we got Sabres and the Blues. This game is tough. They're both pretty evenly matched teams. I would take Sabres money line, even though the Blues have the home ice. The reason why I like the Sabres in this game is because they won the first game 6-2. I like how they match up well against the Blues, so I'm gonna stick with Sabres money line. And kind of to my point, I like over 6.5 goals. The first game was high scoring. I kind of expect the same thing to happen again. Um, and then we got the Coyotes and the Ducks. Both these teams are really bad. I would take probably Coyotes money line because they got home ice. In their last 5 games, they've actually like not been playing that horribly. They beat Vegas, they beat Detroit. So I think those are quality enough wins to give me confidence that they'll take care of home ice. Anaheim has the only W Anaheim has in the last 5 games is the Blue Jackets, who are also not good. So I'm going to stick with Arizona on home ice, and I think over 6.5 is a good bet too because I think it's going to be a high scoring game. There's probably not going to be a lot of defense played, so that would be my call for that game. And then last, I think we got 2 more. Yeah, we do. So Capitals Avalanche. I'm gonna stick with Avs money line. The Avs have been playing really good. They're on a 5 game win streak. Usually in hockey, when a team's won 5 in a row, you fade them. They're on home ice. I like the Avalanche in this game, and I also think that under 6 is a good bet. The Capitals actually have really not been scoring many goals recently. They've not been playing very well. I'm going to give the edge to the Avs at home, and I'm going to take the under on that. And last but not least, we have the Blackhawks and the Canucks. Uh, this is, it's kind of a tough game. Um, I would say because it's home ice for Vancouver and that's such a far travel. I mean, it's pretty far to go from Chicago to Vancouver. It's like north of Washington, like Seattle. So I'm gonna go with the Canucks on home ice here. Although the Blackhawks are a really good underdog team to bet on in hockey, I've definitely bet on them a few times this year where they're like at least plus 2 or 300. But they have, I mean, they still got Jonathan Tays, they still have Patrick Kane. So they still have those two guys, and when you got those two guys on the ice, you got a chance to win, even if you're tanking as they are this year. But I'm gonna stick with Vancouver on home ice, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna take the over 6.5. Only just because I don't think either team is very good, but they like to score. So I'm gonna take over 6.5 and Canucks money line. So that's it for today's slate. Overall, I think probably the smartest plays of the day are going to be Clippers money line, and I really like the Bulls. I really like the Clippers, and I really like if Jokic isn't playing the Pelicans. If Jokic is playing, I would say the Bulls, the Celtics, and the Clippers. And I think the Suns and the Mavs are also smart bets too. So those would be my kind of my NBA suggestions. In terms of over unders, I really like the over in the Celtics Heat game, 217.5. I think that's way too low. I love the over in that game. And uh, I really like the under in the Pelicans game of under 230.5. I have more confidence that game's going to go under, especially if Jokic and Porter are playing. Um, and last but not least for the NBA, I do think that the over in the Mavs games at 225.5 is a smart play too. And for hockey, I think you'd be smart to go with stick with Penguins money line. I also think that the Avs money line is a smart play. And I think that the Penguins, the Red Wings, and the Avs are like my three kind of. I really like those money lines. I think they'd be great in a 3-leg parlay. They'd be great by themselves. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Please like and subscribe. I'm really trying to. I know I kind of took a little break, but I'm really trying to grow this channel. And if you guys have any suggestions or comments, please let me know. I'm open to hearing anything. I'm here. I'm here for you guys. I'm here to make us money. So yeah, I appreciate all the love and support. But that's it for today. Take care, guys.